We will initially test the case, and the first thing we will do is an initialization off. Essentially, we will test the timer, and anything. Specifically, anything initialization off means that we will work between a manual crossbinder remote. Nice. And who is selected here? Embedders. I will enter here the T-switch 100V with 500 milliseconds. This is my timing. These timings are not necessary for me right now. I am only working with this timing. I will enter here on the FrigoWin. I need initially 2 pages. The first page has nothing at all because for me it's still considered dead. Then I enter the second page at 30 volts, for example, with 1 ampere, which is zone A, zone 2, and I will make the timing of this page longer. Okay, where do I want to get this from? I will come here and use the first one, for example, which I will take from the input and output from the second point to mine, and this result will go to the dark side. I will go here and say, well, I want the first one to change its position, for example, after a certain time. Let's say, for example, see, after 100 milliseconds. And then it returns to the normal state, for example, after 2000, after anything, it doesn't matter. Anyway, you have a pulse timer, meaning no matter how long the binary input changes its state, which enters the relay and changes its state, the pulse timer will only count 10 milliseconds. And the switch, you said, counts the camera 500. Okay, I will do something like from the first page, how much will I set it to? 100. So the binary output will exit at the end of the first page, which is the end of the second page that contains the voltage. So when I work like this, it will trigger with me switch onto voltage. If I don't give this binary input, it will trigger with me zone 2. Okay, if I provided the binary input but didn't close the line on voltage for a period longer than my 500 milliseconds, how do I do it? It's very simple. Since you gave me this binary input here, after 100, I will make the duration of the first page 100 plus 500 or 600. If I make the duration of the first page more than 600, it will write the binary input for how long? 500. So after 100 from the first page, write it. The 500 finished on the first page, so on the following page, it doesn't see the voltage and operates normally with its usual timing. But if the duration of the first page here is less than 100 plus 500, for example 580, then after 100, the binary input here, after 100 milliseconds from the first page, exits and stays for 480 on the first page, leaving 20 for the next page. If it extends beyond the next page, it sees its timing and operates as a shunt voltage. So it operates here as a switch onto fault. Okay, this is our first case with the mode that is impedance. We can take, for example, the UI level mode. Here, I don't need the impedance now. I have 70% of U-base because I want to see the calculator, whether to use the calculator or use the water of it. So I have 70% on each phase. And 115 as secondary. No, hon. 115 becomes a quarter of 70%. If the voltage is with me, I will use the same manual cross comment normally. The first page, I let it be 100 and we return to our normal state again. But on the second page, the good is less than 46, 48, make it 45. And the current is more than 20% of I base, for example. Sometimes it was 0.3. In this case, it trips. It trips after what? It trips after 100 milliseconds, which is 100 milliseconds. This is the T duration which is written here as the time delay for UI detection, as mentioned in the manual. It tells you that the UI level is this. And when the assistance of authority is achieved, even if the voltage was a little, the logic is based on current and voltage level. The internal signal UI level is activated if the phase voltage is less than this threshold and the current of this phase is greater than this threshold for a period longer than duration. This also depends on the close command, but it shouldn't be greater either. So if you put 628 here, the close command is gone, so it won't trip at all. It must be within the 500 milliseconds. So you need to consider that 100 milliseconds are already consumed from the 500 milliseconds. For example, if you set it to 50 milliseconds, yes, the first page after 100 milliseconds from the banner input gap From the cruise command counts 450, and the 50 is not yet finished. But the second page must open a company with more than 100. So after just 50, from 450 it gets deactivated, so it doesn't get triggered. Here you find it less than 50, meaning it works at 480 now. It works fine after 100 if you set it above 500, meaning a 500-year map, 10 here. Why doesn't it work as well? That's normal. It says no. The UI level must be overcome by synchronizing the D duration, which is 200 milliseconds. If you want to set it to 0, it will be overcome by 0. This topic is 200 milliseconds. You want to cut it to 0, you will sit with 0, what?
It means it must remain in this time and switch. You are voltage, but don't switch. You are voltage, switch. You are voltage, switch. You are voltage, switch. You are voltage.
We see this talk, that's why you see after 100. So as soon as he saw it count to 100 with a default switch. Because you are flirting, which implies engaging in playful or romantic behavior, meaning that if you refer him to the first page of the document or book, there will be 100 references or instances. No, he is talking. You have to refer him to the page, yes. Yes, indeed, absolutely, certainly. Indeed, for 500. Is that correct or am I wrong? 100 plus 500, how much is that? 600. How much time did you put on the first page? 510. So only 90 are left. Is that correct or am I wrong? Where are those 90? Oh. They will be denied on the second page. But why won't the second page be affected? Because the second page needs 100 units. So the time on the first page must give you allowance for the 100 on the second page. So if you are going to set it with your tongue at 500, you should expect, if you are working on the UI level, to make the 500 into 600 in the city. Either you set the trip time for the UI level to 0. I explained before here that it was written in the menu that the UI level is used with the MOHO characteristics, because if the MOHO characteristics have low voltage and the warp is at 0, you won't see the MOHO. So we activate the quad and we won't be doing that. It's already in the menu that the UI level stops with the promised characteristics. Because if the photo is low and responds with 0, you won't see it, right? We are already working with Kuwait, so we don't feel this talk. But what did we do? We conducted a test with the UI level based on this time, and we did it with the impedance based on this time. Now, who will we do it with? Okay, let's go back to impedance again. It won't matter to you whether it's impedance or UI level, because the logic I'm working on now is the logic of auto-initiation. Auto-initiation doesn't rely on UI level or not UI level. This logic depends, of course, on the fact that it needs to see the Z acceleration here to output 1 with K. Look below. So if the Z acceleration is moving, KK, the impedance is taken correctly. Am I wrong? But K is originally dependent on the Z acceleration here. And you see anything you want, usually you leave it at home because it doesn't depend on the foundation. Because it has nothing to do with it, 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 because it has nothing to do with it. To do with it, because it has nothing 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 to do. Never mind. The important thing is that now we've taken it. And we've taken it, so what am I supposed to do now? Now I come here to inject. What do I inject? I inject the page. 2 pages as well. The first page, that's normal, there's no problem at all, or I don't even feel it. I inject the first page, I inject the second page. But the second page took me to Z2, but the names of these? Yes. I wanted to test the UI level at the same time. I haven't tested it. Let's also turn it off because we haven't tested the UI level. Turn it off to do 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 the UI level. I didn't leave it. Okay. But this time, the same injection exactly here. The same injection here. The first page, the embassy will come out with Manu Cross Common. I will set the time to 100 in the usual way, which is normally. Here, I read if you inject like this, it will be after 100 milliseconds, right? I will start the song here. I will make the time a little less than 0.2, meaning 0.19. So the work like this doesn't work. So we increase this, for example, make it 0.2, 0.2, 0.1, or 0.2, 0, for example, 5. We increase it a little, but it actually works at 0.2. And we said the voltage is 46.48. So if we make this 47, leave this at 0.2. There's no problem. If we make this 47, it doesn't work. And 40, leave this as it is. There's no problem if we make this 47. Leave it, 46.3. We return to the normal state, perform attention, and press change. A book we start years polluted and a screen of its own. And here we send with the change parameters. If you want to try the normal soil first, enter the second page sometimes for 30 volts at 1 ampere, which is zoom 2. We will work with you on the second page. We will work with you on the second page. We will work with you on the second page. We will work with you on the second page. We will work with you on the second page. We will work with you on the second page. We will work with you on the second page. Who is this? No, but we will do impedance as a mode. But he must see the deadline. I mean, isn't he supposed to see the deadline here? The deadline is seen from the U phase and I phase, and I got it from here, written here, that the internet deadline from the UI level is activated if all the phases of the current and the watch are blocked. So now, here, you will find the first page where everything is healthy. Because the aircraft is larger than the new phase and the voltage is 50 volts, this is live and not a dead condition. The second page will launch the voltage. Okay, we will see what happened. We will work on it because it told you that for dead time and deadline to activate, we need to see that the situation has become live greater than how much. For example, this first page is 500, right? Ha 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 ha. 500 is the same as the destruction to volt. 500, approximately 550 is essentially the same in value. We work normally at the same time. T-switch onto voltage. It was supposed to work with you, which is 520, but it worked with Nizon 2 at the same time. We agreed that T-switch onto voltage is the time. Whether we did it as a cross command or as an initiation, the time below started to depend on it, so the fluctuations themselves, but it actually worked. What about this first page? If it's less than this, meaning 480, what will work? Sooty Sooty Windfoot. And of course, we can try to make this first page larger than 500, but let's play around with the emergency. For example, make it less than 0.2, like 0.19, so both are less. You have violated one of the conditions, meaning if you only set the current as the highest, then it's no longer DD, because for DD, both need to be less. So you violated one of them, and it's no longer DD, so it falls under zone 2. But if you set both below their settings, then for you, it was DD, and it falls under another condition. So, I will test the right TDLD. I will inject 3 pages. The first page. I will inject the HELSA 66.4 at half an ampere. And its time is normal. 3 seconds. No problem, because the line is operating normally. The second page, the line tripped for some reason, so the line was closed. This is during this period here. According to the time, it is more than 200 milliseconds. If I achieve it on a page, the default with increased acceleration will work. The default should perform an outer transition. This is what is written here in the manual. It should see dead logic higher than the UI label and should not see increased acceleration during the TDLD period. If you add the second page to the third page, you must add the third page to the third page. You must add the third page to the third page. You must add the third page. Place. Remove. Suddenly winter is trading. On the second page, there are 150. On the third page, you see, it's just my basic skin to reduce the microphone hum, which is to switch on the default delay. If I set it to more than 200, like 220 for example, it will go to the second page. It sees that it has a delay of more than 200 milliseconds, so it goes to the third page to switch on the default. So here, the father is operating with the same mindset as the microphone switch on to full delay, which is the live dead time. It's working, but with the pull dead condition, not with a million common comments. Okay, there's a part I explained in the first video, but if you listen to me, the reason why this time was created is for the button configuration. It tells you that the light switch on to full blocks the button configuration, right? Now, if you want that button configuration to work, 2 shots happened where you were live, and then you took a step. My mother said, okay, you say that I am Turkish. Leave the long side of 500. And then the technology closes the breaker. If it closes, and the switch on to full didn't have the TDLD story, or the switch on to full related to the microphone, it would have happened. And the voltage was still present. The switch on to full would work. The switch on to forward was working. 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 To activate the franchise T and R as a switch on to volt knob over time, for the switch on to volt was present because the switch on to volt period was for the T, R, and CD deficiency because T and R were present after T, and CD until the switch on to volt period was completely finished. You will tell me no. The same thing with the manual cruise command will tell you it doesn't depend on the auto closure device. The cruise command doesn't pass through the contactor from which you take the manual cruise command, because in the same way as in the ABB and the MICOM, if you take the auto closure cruise command on the contactor from which you take the manual cruise command, if the line is dead and the auto closure is activated, it will write the authority you mentioned with you correctly. Here you are mistaken, so in this case you must disconnect from this. You look at a lot of beautiful badness.